Night had slowly settled over the small villages of Germany. The snow-covered streets lay quiet, undisturbed, reflecting the soft glow of the moonlight. Thin trails of smoke rose gently from chimneys, winding upward into the cold night sky. The air was still, save for the occasional rustling of tree branches in the gentle wind. Silence was everywhere, a calm shroud draping over the sleeping villages. Yet beneath this stillness, subtle preparations for distant operations were quietly underway. In the early 1940s, the German military had begun to implement a new method to sustain soldiers during extended operations. This method involved a tablet known as Pervitin. These tablets allowed soldiers to maintain alertness and suppress fatigue for short periods. They did not grant infinite energy or alter the body's limits, but they provided a temporary means to endure longer marches and prolonged periods of concentration. In some quiet towns, pharmacies quietly began supplying these tablets to the military, blending their presence into everyday life. Civilians noticed little. To them, life continued as normal, while preparations for distant fronts quietly progressed. The effect of the tablets was simple yet significant. When taken, they reduced the sensation of hunger and tiredness. They sharpened focus and prolonged attention. For soldiers, this meant that long days of marching and carrying out tasks could continue without the usual slowing of pace. The tablets did not alter the natural limitations of the body. They offered a temporary adjustment, a fleeting enhancement in endurance, and a subtle shift in perception. Snow drifted lightly along the quiet streets, catching the dim light of street lamps and scattering soft reflections across the rooftops. The air smelled faintly of smoke and pine. Each breath formed a small cloud in the cold, moving with the rhythm of the wind. Villagers inside their homes remained unaware of the delicate balance between the ordinary quiet of their lives and the orchestrated discipline of distant military operations. The villages themselves were full of contrasts. Narrow cobblestone streets, frozen ponds, and snow-covered fields stood empty and calm. The glow of lanterns and windows created warm spots in the otherwise cold and quiet night. Trees, heavily laden with snow, stood silently along the borders of each village. Their branches bent slightly under the weight, occasionally shedding small amounts of snow that drifted gently to the ground. It was a scene of tranquility, seemingly untouched by time, where the only movement was the soft and deliberate rhythm of the winter night. The tablets, Pervitin, were a small part of a much larger system. They did not replace the necessity of preparation, training, or discipline. Soldiers were still expected to follow routines, perform duties, and move across landscapes that were often challenging and harsh. Yet the tablets offered a subtle, almost invisible support, like a quiet companion, gently pushing the limits of human endurance. Their presence was not dramatic. It did not create immediate transformation. Instead, it quietly allowed soldiers to continue their tasks a little longer, a little further, a little more efficiently than they could naturally. As the night deepened, the villages seemed even quieter. Snow muffled sound, absorbing any distant noise and leaving only a gentle whisper of wind. Paths that had been walked during the day were now covered again with a fresh layer of snow, erasing footprints and signs of movement. The moon traced a slow path across the sky, illuminating fields and rooftops with soft, silvery light. Every detail of the scene, every shadow, every glint of snow, every gentle flicker of light contributed to a sense of calm and quiet observation. Even the simplest elements of the night seemed significant. A frozen pond reflected the moon in a smooth, undisturbed surface. Icicles hung from roof edges, glinting faintly. The faint scent of smoke from chimneys suggested warmth and shelter inside, contrasting with the chill outside. These details created an atmosphere of patience, endurance, and quiet observation, mirroring the effect of the tablets on the soldiers who would later move through these landscapes. By dawn, the first hints of light would begin to touch the horizon. For now, however, night remained, deep and steady, and the villages lay enveloped in stillness. The tablets were yet to be administered, the soldiers yet to march. All was calm, all was quiet, and yet, beneath the surface, a subtle preparation for human endurance and resilience had begun. The front lines stretched across a landscape covered in snow, where quiet forests met open fields. The cold was pervasive, wrapping around every tree and stone, seeping through layers of clothing to reach the body. Soldiers moved along these paths, their steps slow and measured, their breaths forming small clouds in the crisp night air. The snow softened the sounds of movement, so that even large groups appeared nearly silent against the backdrop of winter. In the pockets of their coats, soldiers carried small tablets known as Pervitin. These tablets were not weapons, nor did they drastically alter human capabilities. Instead, they provided a temporary means to suppress fatigue and sustain alertness during long marches and extended periods of attention. Each tablet was carefully distributed, used according to orders, and intended to maintain a subtle equilibrium of endurance. Walking across frozen fields, the soldiers' boots left impressions in the snow that quickly filled with the fine drift of falling flakes. Their movements were deliberate. Every step was measured. The cold, though pervasive, was not immediately harmful. Rather, it was an ever-present condition to which they had to adjust. Bodies maintained warmth through layering, careful pacing, and the occasional pause to rest. Even small adjustments, such as shifting weight from one foot to another or rubbing hands together, became significant in maintaining a steady rhythm. The effect of the tablets was gradual. A soldier might notice a slight decrease in fatigue, a subtle sharpening of focus, or a temporary dulling of hunger. These effects were not dramatic. They were quiet, almost imperceptible, yet cumulatively, they allowed for tasks to continue beyond natural comfort levels. Soldiers could continue walking, observing, and performing small tasks with less sensation of weariness. Each step forward was both ordinary and slightly extended by the influence of the tablet. Trees stood motionless in the snow, their branches etched with ice and frost. The soldiers passed through forested areas, where the soft white landscape and the silence created a kind of natural observation point. Each movement was mirrored in the quiet around them. The snow absorbed sound, and only the crunch of boots against hardened surfaces broke the stillness. Occasionally, a breath or the soft rustle of fabric would reach the ears, yet nothing was abrupt, nothing alarming. As the march continued, soldiers would pause occasionally, not from sudden exhaustion, but from the natural rhythm of the body asserting itself. Even with tablets, the body required small periods of stillness. During these pauses, eyes would follow the horizon, observing snow-laden branches or the faint glow of a distant lantern. Hands might adjust gloves, tighten straps, or shift weight to maintain comfort. These moments were both routine and essential, reflecting the balance between effort and endurance. The winter landscape itself contributed to the quiet endurance. Frozen ponds reflected moonlight, creating a soft luminescence that guided movement. Hills and valleys, blanketed in snow, provided natural markers for pacing and navigation. The soldiers' presence was part of the environment, not separate from it. Every movement, every pause, every subtle adjustment existed in harmony with the surrounding silence. Inside the forest, shadows of trees stretched across the snow. The light was subdued, muted by clouds or occasional drifting snowflakes. The soldiers' eyes adjusted gradually, observing their surroundings without rush or distraction. The tablet effects were noticeable primarily in sustained attention. Tasks that might normally tire the body or mind were completed without abrupt fatigue. This quiet prolonging of endurance reflected both the subtle influence of the tablets and the careful preparation of the individuals using them. Over time, the day shifted slowly toward dawn. The snow's surface changed color subtly, from the silver of moonlight to the pale glow of early sunlight. Soldiers, still in motion, became part of the quiet landscape. Their steps were steady, measured, and unhurried. No dramatic events occurred. The environment remained calm, the cold constant, and the soldiers' actions deliberate. The use of Pervitin was only one aspect of maintaining operational endurance. Careful planning, rationing of energy, and measured pacing were equally important. The tablets provided a quiet support, a subtle prolongation of attention and stamina, but did not replace the need for strategy, discipline, or adaptation to the natural environment. Each movement, each observation, each small adjustment was part of an ongoing rhythm that combined human endurance with a temporary augmentation. By the time the sun fully rose, the soldiers were already integrated into the landscape. Snowflakes fell slowly, settled on shoulders and hats, and melted silently. The forest and fields retained their calm. The soldiers' presence remained understated. They were neither triumphant nor exhausted, only steadily moving through a world defined by cold, snow, and quiet persistence. Throughout the long hours, the soldiers' physical and mental rhythms were subtly maintained by both preparation and the small support of the tablets. Yet even as the tablets extended alertness, the natural cadence of the body and mind persisted. Hunger, fatigue, and the need for rest remained underlying forces, patiently asserting themselves across the expanse of winter landscape. In this way, the front lines of the winter environment became a study in endurance, adaptation, and quiet observation. Every step, pause, and subtle adjustment illustrated the balance between temporary enhancement and natural limits. The environment was neither hostile nor accommodating, simply present, offering both challenge and continuity. Soldiers moved within it with care, their actions measured, their attention sustained, and their rhythm attuned to the quiet persistence of the winter landscape. As night continued its slow passage, the influence of Pervitin began to wane. Soldiers who had moved through forests and across snowy fields with subtle assistance now felt the gradual return of natural bodily rhythms. Steps became slightly heavier, attention subtly shifted, and the mind began to register the passage of time in a quieter, more deliberate way. The snow-covered landscape remained calm, unchanged. Trees stood silently, their branches bent under the weight of frost and ice. The wind, gentle and steady, passed through the forest with a quiet, almost imperceptible movement. The air was crisp, carrying the faint scent of pine and frozen earth. Soldiers paused occasionally, not from fatigue alone, but from the natural need to adjust posture, shift weight, or simply observe the world around them. In the soft moonlight, footprints left in earlier hours were slowly being filled in by drifting snow. Each mark in the snow told a story of movement, measured and deliberate, yet impermanent. The soldier's presence was transient, integrated with the stillness of the landscape. No dramatic events occurred. No abrupt changes disturbed the quiet. The environment itself was a constant, offering both subtle challenge and silent observation. The temporary assistance provided by the tablets had been effective only in small, precise ways. Hunger and tiredness, though slightly delayed, began to make themselves known. Soldiers adjusted gloves, shifted packs, and took small pauses to steady themselves. These moments were neither alarming nor urgent. They were natural reflections of the body's need for rhythm and recuperation. Every movement, every breath, every subtle action was a quiet negotiation between temporary enhancement and inherent human limits. Frozen ponds reflected the pale light of the moon, and later the early hints of dawn. Ice glimmered softly as snow settled on its surface, creating a calm, undisturbed reflection of the surrounding forest. Soldiers observed these details during their pauses, noting the subtle interplay of light, texture, and movement. Even in stillness, the environment offered information, requiring only attention and patience to perceive. Throughout the night, the wind shifted gently, brushing against tree trunks and drifting across open fields. Snowflakes fell sporadically, melting as they touched the warmth of a coat or a glove. The quiet was uninterrupted, save for these subtle signs of movement within the landscape. Soldiers adapted naturally, maintaining balance, pacing, and attention. The interplay between human endurance and environmental conditions became a steady rhythm, almost imperceptible but continuously present. By the time early morning approached, the soldiers were firmly attuned to this rhythm. Their steps were measured, their breaths steady, and their observations deliberate. The tablet's effects had largely faded, leaving only the enduring lessons of movement, pacing, and attention. The environment remained unchanged, silent yet alive in its own subtle ways. The snow, trees, and faint light provided both a stage and a mirror for the quiet endurance of human bodies and minds. As the sun began to rise over the horizon, the soft golden light touched snow-covered branches, highlighting textures invisible in the dark. Soldiers moved slowly through the gradually brightening landscape, aware of the passing of time yet undisturbed by it. Each action was deliberate, each observation gentle, and each step in harmony with the surrounding environment. The winter landscape, calm and steady, had remained largely constant throughout the night. The subtle effects of the tablets had been present only for brief periods, yet the soldier's experience was framed not by sudden transformations, but by quiet prolongation of attention and endurance. As natural limits reasserted themselves, the rhythm of movement and observation became fully human once again. In the early light, the forest appeared even more tranquil. Shadows receded, textures became more visible, and the snow reflected a delicate spectrum of colors, from pale gold to soft silver. Soldiers continued to move through the landscape, integrating their own presence seamlessly with the environment. Every pause, every glance, every adjustment was both a continuation of the night's quiet rhythm and a preparation for the day ahead. The temporary augmentation of endurance provided by the tablets had been effective yet impermanent. The night had demonstrated both the possibilities and limitations of human effort, the delicate balance between intervention and natural rhythms. Soldiers' bodies and minds had been subtly extended, yet ultimately remained guided by their own inherent capacities. By the conclusion of the night, the landscape remained undisturbed, silent yet alive. Snow lay across the fields and trees, wind moved gently, and light began to spread slowly across the horizon. Soldiers had completed their movements, adjusted to their environment, and experienced the subtle interplay between temporary enhancement and natural endurance. The night had ended quietly, leaving only the calm persistence of human and environmental rhythm, intertwined and uninterrupted.